Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of US 5-cent coins, as some of these coins are rare and can make you rich overnight. In this video, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're peeling back the layers of one of the most underappreciated coins in American pockets, the 1973 United States 5-cent coin, better known as the Jefferson nickel. Now, this isn't a coin most people would think twice about. You might find one rolling around in a desk drawer or at the bottom of your glove box. But what if I told you that this seemingly ordinary nickel minted over 50 years ago could be worth a jaw-dropping amount of money today? Yes, the 1973 Jefferson nickel may just be hiding more than history. It could be hiding a fortune. Let's take a step back for a moment and understand the context. In 1973, the United States was going through some serious changes. From economic shifts to political unrest, it was a transformative time. Amid all of that, the U.S. Mint quietly produced millions of Jefferson nickels, coins that most Americans didn't think twice about. But here's the twist. While most of these nickels were standard, a few were born different. A few were born flawed. And in the world of coin collecting, flaws mean fortune. The design of the 1973 nickel is classic. On the obverse, the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, and on the reverse, the stately image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home. These design elements had been in place since 1938. But sometimes, even with familiar designs, unexpected things happen: minting errors, metal anomalies, or subtle differences that make certain coins extremely rare. What exactly makes some 1973 nickels stand out and rise to the top of collectors' wish lists? Let's start with mint errors, those unintentional quirks during the minting process that can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. For the 1973 nickel, one of the most sought-after errors is the double die strike. This means that part of the coin's design, often the date or lettering, appears doubled. At first glance, it might look like a blur, but under magnification, it's clear and unmistakable. These kinds of coins are rare, and they often fetch high prices at auctions. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. In these cases, the coin's design is shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent on the other. The more off-center the strike, and the more visible the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. It's a quirky mistake that transforms a coin into a one-of-a-kind piece. There are also examples of wrong planchet errors, where a nickel is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination, like a penny or even a foreign coin. These errors often result in a coin that's the wrong color, weight, or size. They're incredibly rare, and because of that, they're worth serious money. Another detail collectors look for in the 1973 nickel is the condition. Coins that have never entered circulation, known as uncirculated or mint state coins, are in pristine condition and graded by professional services. A high-grade 1973 nickel with no wear, crisp details, and full luster can already command a decent price. Add a rare error to that, and you're looking at a coin that can explode in value. Let's not forget the mint marks, small letters that tell you where a coin was made. In 1973, Jefferson nickels were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from San Francisco with an S mint mark were typically proof coins, specially made for collectors with sharp details and mirror-like finishes. A 1973 S nickel in flawless condition, especially with a unique error, is incredibly desirable. But here's what really matters: not all rare coins look dramatic. Sometimes, a tiny flaw, a die crack, a clipped planchet, or even a weak strike can drastically increase a coin's value. The secret is in knowing what to look for. Collectors spend hours under magnifying glasses, inspecting the curves of the numbers, the sharpness of the Monticello dome, or the slight doubling in the phrase, "In God We Trust." Every little detail counts. So here's my advice. If you come across a 1973 Jefferson nickel, don't dismiss it. Look closely. Check the date. Examine the mint mark. Look for anything odd or out of place. That tiny coin could be far more than just pocket change. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. How much could a rare, error-filled, high-grade 1973 5-cent coin actually be worth? Hold on to your coin rolls, because in some rare cases, a 1973 Jefferson nickel with a dramatic error and an uncirculated mint state condition has been valued as high as $78,000. That's right. $78,000 for a single nickel.so. Next time you hear that familiar clink of coins, remember, one of them might just be hiding a story and a small fortune. Top 2, we are going to talk about one small coin with a very big story. It's the kind of coin you may have handled thousands of times without ever thinking twice. But if you've got one of these lying around, you might want to dig it out and take a closer look. Because the 1984 United States of America 5-cent coin, yes, the humble Jefferson nickel, could be worth far more than just 5 cents. In fact, in the world of coin collecting, this ordinary-looking coin could end up being the highlight of your entire collection. So sit tight, grab a magnifying glass if you've got one, and let's dive into what makes the 1984 nickel a potential gold mine hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938, with its familiar design featuring a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his historic home, Monticello, on the back. The 1984 issue didn't see any dramatic design changes, but that's exactly why it's so special. See, sometimes the most valuable coins aren't the ones that look wildly different. They're the ones that look mostly normal but have something subtly wrong. And in the case of the 1984 5-cent coin, those subtle issues have created a storm of excitement in the numismatic world. So what should you be looking for? One of the major reasons the 1984 nickel can be extremely valuable is due to minting errors. These are unintentional mistakes made at the U.S. Mint during the coin production process. While most flawed coins are caught and destroyed before they reach the public, every now and then a few manage to slip through. And when they do, well, that's when collectors take notice. One of the most well-known errors on the 1984 nickel is a double die obverse. This happens when the coin die strikes the blank planchet twice, slightly off from the first strike, creating a noticeable doubling effect on some of the inscriptions, like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1984. These double die errors can be subtle to the untrained eye, but for collectors, they're pure gold. Another potential issue is the off-center strike. If the blank coin wasn't properly aligned in the press, you get a finished coin where the design is shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent on the other. These kinds of errors are dramatic, easy to spot, and very desirable, especially if the date is still fully visible. And don't forget about die cracks, tiny raised lines on the surface of the coin caused by a cracked die, or even clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge looks like it's been snipped off. These rare errors aren't just cool to look at. They add serious value. But here's where it gets even more exciting. Some 1984 nickels have been found with wrong planchet errors, meaning they were accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for a completely different coin, such as a penny. Imagine holding a nickel that's the color of copper instead of silver. These unusual pieces are extremely rare, and when authenticated, can fetch eye-popping prices at auction. Now let's talk condition, because that matters just as much as the error itself. In coin collecting, we grade coins based on their physical state, from well-worn circulated coins to flawless uncirculated ones, known as mint state. The highest quality coins, often graded MS65 or higher, are the ones that command the most attention. If your 1984 nickel has a rare error and is in near-perfect condition, you're looking at a coin that's not just rare, it's exceptional. Collectors love coins that combine history, rarity, and condition, and the 1984 Jefferson nickel checks all the boxes. It's old enough to be interesting. It's common enough to be overlooked. And it's rare enough, in certain versions, to be worth a whole lot more than anyone expects. So, if you've got a jar of coins sitting at home, now's the time to go through it. Look at your 1984 nickels. Check the edges. Inspect the lettering. Use a magnifying glass if you can. If anything looks odd, doubled letters, weird edges, unusual metal tones, you could be staring at a hidden treasure. And now, the part you've been waiting for. The number that makes everyone's eyes go wide. That if you happen to find a 1984 United States 5-cent coin that features a dramatic error, especially a double die or off-metal strike, and it's in pristine, uncirculated mint condition, brace yourself. Because collectors have paid up to $76,000 for a single coin like that. Yes, you heard that right. $76,000 for one nickel.so. The next time you come across a handful of change, remember that not every coin is as ordinary as it seems. Some of them carry secrets. Some of them carry stories. And a lucky few, like the 1984 nickel, might just carry a small fortune. Top 3. What we're talking about today might just change the way you look at the most ordinary coins. Today's story centers around the 1987 United States 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it might seem like just another old coin with a familiar face. But hidden among the millions of nickels minted that year, a few very special coins carry a secret, one that could make you look twice at every nickel you come across from now on. Let's go back to the year 1987. The world was shifting, Ronald Reagan was president, Wall Street was booming, and pop culture was exploding with new energy. Amid all the excitement, the U.S. Mint quietly produced hundreds of millions of nickels featuring the classic Jefferson design that Americans had seen for decades. But here's the thing, not all 1987 nickels were created equal. The standard 1987 nickel features the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, facing left, with the word Liberty written in his own handwriting and the date 1987 stamped beside it. On the reverse, we see Monticello, Jefferson's stately Virginia home. Clean, simple, familiar. But like with many things in life, it's the imperfections that make something truly valuable. And that's exactly what turns this simple coin into a potential goldmine. What makes some of these 1987 nickels so rare and sought after by collectors? The answer lies in errors, variations, and condition, 3 factors that, when combined just right, can send the value of a coin skyrocketing. Let's start with mint errors. These are accidental mistakes made during the production process, and they're the stuff that coin collectors dream about. One of the most talked about errors for the 1987 nickel is the double die obverse. That's when the die used to stamp the coin hits the blank more than once but not in perfect alignment. The result? Doubling of letters or numbers, especially noticeable in areas like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or even the date itself. It's a subtle error, but to a trained eye, it's worth big bucks. Then there are off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, causing part of the coin's surface to remain blank. Some of these are only slightly off, but others can be dramatically misaligned while still showing the full date. Those are the real prize. Another rare error is when a nickel is struck on the wrong planchet, meaning a coin blank meant for another denomination, like a penny, was used. That creates a 5-cent coin that's smaller or copper-colored instead of silver. It's bizarre. It's beautiful. And it's rare. You might also find die cracks, which appear as raised lines across the coin's surface due to a damaged die. Or even clipped planchets, where a small curved portion of the coin looks like it's been bitten off. Each of these oddities makes your coin stand out, and when it comes to collecting, standing out is everything. But even with the rarest error, a coin's condition is key. A heavily circulated coin with scratches, dirt, and wear might not fetch much. But a 1987 nickel that's been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one graded at MS65 or higher, is a totally different story. Collectors seek that original luster, those sharp, clean edges, and flawless details that make the coin feel like it just left the mint yesterday. Combine that mint state quality with a dramatic error or a rare variant, and you've got something truly special. How can you tell if your 1987 nickel is valuable? Look closely. Check the lettering for doubling. Inspect the edges. Does the design look off-center? Is the surface perfectly smooth? Or do you see unusual marks, curves, or cracks? And if the color looks different, like it has a reddish copper tone, well, you may have something incredibly rare. The hunt is part of the fun and the discovery. That's where the magic is. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. You're probably wondering, what is a rare and perfectly preserved 1987 Jefferson nickel actually worth? Well, collectors have paid up to $73,000 for a single 1987 5-cent coin when it features the right error and is found in mint state condition. Yes, you heard that right. A nickel that might have cost just 5 cents in 1987 could now be worth $73,000. The next time you're going through your old change, pay attention. Don't toss those nickels aside too quickly. The one you overlook could be a hidden treasure, just waiting to be discovered. Top 4, we're diving into a surprising coin that could be sitting right under your nose. One that most people never give a second thought to. That's right, we're talking about the 1996 United States 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. Now, before you shrug this off as just another common coin, let me tell you something that might just change the way you see it forever. This simple little nickel could be worth far more than you imagine. Not every 1996 nickel, of course, but a special few. A rare handful of these coins have features, errors, and qualities that make them incredibly valuable in today's collector's market. Let's start with a bit of background. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features the third U.S. president, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse, and his beloved home, Monticello, on the reverse. That iconic design lasted for decades, and in 1996, the mint continued with the same structure. But just because the design was familiar doesn't mean every coin came out perfect. In fact, 1996 turned out to be one of those years where some seriously fascinating minting errors slipped through the cracks. And those errors are exactly what make this coin a treasure for collectors. One of the most notable errors to look out for is the double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin is struck more than once with misaligned dies, causing certain elements, like the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or even the numbers in the date, to appear doubled. To an untrained eye, it might seem like a weird blur, but to a coin enthusiast, that's the stuff dreams are made of. Next up, we have off-center strikes, where the image is shifted away from the center of the coin, leaving part of the design cut off. A coin with a slight off-center strike might not be worth much, but if you find one that's significantly misaligned and still shows the full date, that's rare and very valuable. There are also planchet errors, like when a nickel is struck on the wrong metal blank, say, a blank intended for a penny. Imagine holding a 5-cent coin that's copper-colored instead of nickel-silver. It looks strange, it feels strange, and it's the kind of thing collectors pay big money for. Another exciting variant is the clipped planchet. This is when the coin blank is improperly cut, leaving the finished coin with a noticeable crescent-shaped missing piece. These are highly collectible, especially when the coin is in great condition and the date remains fully visible. And let's talk about die cracks and cuds, which occur when the dies used to strike the coins become damaged. These errors create raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, unintentional features that, once again, make the coin unique and valuable. Now here's something every collector knows. Even the most extraordinary error doesn't reach its full potential unless it's combined with top-notch condition. That's why mint state coins, those that haven't been circulated, scratched, or worn down, are always in the highest demand. When you find a rare error on a coin that still glows with its original mint luster, you've got a jackpot. And yes, believe it or not, such 1996 nickels do exist. Some of them have been discovered in pocket change, others in old collections passed down through families. It just goes to show, you never know what kind of treasure is hiding in a jar of coins or in that box of stuff you haven't looked through in years. For coin collectors, these 1996 nickels are thrilling not just because of their monetary value, but because they offer a glimpse into the fascinating world of minting. Each error tells a story. Each variation is a mystery. And owning one of these rare coins means holding a piece of history that almost wasn't supposed to exist. So the big question is, how much could one of these coins actually be worth? If you're lucky enough to find a 1996 Jefferson nickel that features a dramatic mint error, like a double die, a major off-center strike, or a wrong planchet strike, and it's in mint or near mint condition, collectors have been known to pay up to $70,000 for a single coin. Yes, you heard that correctly. A nickel that once bought a few minutes at a parking meter could now buy you a brand new luxury car, or even a down payment on a house. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about the money. It's about the hunt, the history, and the joy of finding value where no one else is looking. So, what are you waiting for? Dig through that spare change, check your coin jars, and don't forget to look at every nickel from 1996 just a little more closely. You never know, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Top 5. We're about to zoom in on a coin that's hiding in plain sight. The 2006 United States 5-cent coin, also known as the Jefferson nickel. Now, you might be thinking, what could possibly be special about a 2006 nickel? It seems so recent, so common, so normal. But let me tell you, what makes this coin truly fascinating isn't just its age or design. It's what can go wrong during the minting process that turns this seemingly average coin into a collector's dream. Yes, we're talking about the rare errors and unique features that have pushed certain 2006 nickels into the spotlight, and even into elite coin auctions, fetching prices you wouldn't believe. First, let's talk a little about the background. The year 2006 was an important transition point for the Jefferson nickel. After the special Westward Journey series that celebrated the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, the Mint returned to a more modern depiction of Jefferson, this time facing forward for the first time in nickel history. This design was created by Jamie Franke, and it gave a bold, updated look to an American classic. On the reverse, you'll still find Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home, drawn with greater clarity and detail. So, we've got a coin that's part of a design evolution. Already interesting, right? But the real thrill begins when we look at the rare and unexpected minting errors that turn this ordinary coin into something extraordinary. One of the most exciting errors to look for is the double die. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once with slightly misaligned dies, creating a noticeable doubling effect on parts of the coin, especially the lettering or Jefferson's facial features. These coins often go unnoticed and change, but once spotted, they become instant collector's items. Then there are the off-center strikes, coins that were not struck squarely within the collar, resulting in part of the design being cut off. A 2006 nickel that's 10 or 15% off-center is cool, but one that's 50% off-center and still shows a full date? That's where the real value lies. Next, we have wrong planchet errors, which are extremely rare but incredibly valuable. This happens when a nickel is accidentally struck on a blank mint for another coin, like a penny or a foreign denomination. The result is a bizarre, mismatched coin that collectors go wild for. And don't forget about clipped planchets, coins that were cut from the metal sheet improperly, leaving them with a curved, crescent-shaped chunk missing. These look dramatic and unique, and when found on a newer coin like the 2006 nickel, they're highly desirable. Another oddity that adds major value is the die break, sometimes called a cut. This happens when part of the die actually breaks off during the minting process, leaving a raised blob or line of metal on the finished coin. These are one of a kind, and every single one is a little different from the rest. Now, combine one of these rare errors with excellent condition, what collectors call mint state, or uncirculated, and you've got something truly special. Coins that have never been used in everyday transactions, with all their original shine and detail intact, are significantly more valuable than their worn-down counterparts. So, if you happen to come across a 2006 nickel that looks a little too perfect or has a strange mark, doubling, or odd shape, don't ignore it. It could be worth a serious second look. You see, collectors love coins like these not only because of their rarity and value, but because they represent history, craftsmanship, and the beautiful imperfections of human-made systems. Each mint error tells a story, a tiny hiccup in the massive machinery of the U.S. Mint that somehow slipped through and made it into the hands of the public. And now, perhaps into your hands. So what's the potential value of a rare, error-filled, mint condition 2006 Jefferson nickel? Well, hold on to your hats, because if you're lucky enough to find a truly rare 2006 nickel, one with a dramatic mint error and in pristine condition, it could be worth as much as $68,000. Yes, you heard that right. A simple nickel, something you might have used to buy gum or feed a parking meter, could now be worth more than a luxury card. That's the magic of coin collecting. It's about curiosity, attention to detail, and sometimes just a bit of luck. So next time you get a nickel in your change, don't overlook it. Flip it, inspect it, and who knows, you might just be holding on to a tiny treasure. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins hiding in everyday life, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a future discovery. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting and happy collecting.